What's up, you guys? My name is Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet. For this video, I will be using what's called jump cuts on YouTube, and it's a style of editing which involves trimming out areas in which there's dead noise, and so it'll skip like this at times for the sake of being concise. But I promise you I'll be on my best behavior and I can actually complete a thought, so I will not use it excessively. And today's video is, the topic is in the title, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience working with who you guys know as Mr. Sark, and that's what I called him too. His name's Scott. He has like a real name, but I know him as Mr. Sark, you know him as Mr. Sark, and there are a lot of things, there are a lot of experiences that I've had with him that I've always wanted to talk about, and I've never had the chance really. And Sark is very, I wouldn't say shy, I would say he's intentionally reserved and not withdrawn, but he's intentionally reserved sometimes, and he usually sort of rejects this kind of attention. And I called him about 2 weeks ago and I asked him, hey, I plan on making a video talking very openly and candidly about our friendship and our work relationship and what it was like working with you and what I got out of that experience. And I wanted to make sure that you were okay with that and that you didn't see it as exploitative maybe, or disingenuous, or coming from a place where I wanted to benefit off of it instead of like share a story. And he said he was cool with that. I imagine he probably won't even watch this video, which I think I prefer, because it's going to get a little faggy at times. And forgive my usage of that word, but I don't mean gay. I mean faggy. It's going to get faggy. Before I even get into that, I want to talk about Joel this morning on Twitter, or Small Beans as many of you know him. And that's what I know him as too, Small Beans. But Beans got on Twitter and made a video today saying that he was done with YouTube and that he had accomplished everything that he wanted to accomplish, and that it wasn't bringing him the same level of satisfaction as before, and that he decided to stop making videos. And I want to say to you right now, Joel, if you're watching this, and even if you're not, I just want to say it. Joel has always been kind of a honey badger on YouTube, and in my life I just sort of respect honey badgers altogether, and I aspire to be a honey badger, and honey badgers don't give a shit, and he never gave a shit, and I loved that about him. And his gameplay has always been awesome. One of the very first clips that I ever commentated over for a top 5 plays for an old channel that I used to be a part of called Watch This Gaming was a clip of him playing Modern Warfare 2 on the map Favela using the Barrett 50 cal, and he didn't miss a single shot for like, I want to say 15 shots in a row. And his gameplay has always been the sort of gameplay that I aspire to have, but I've never been as good as him. And his editing, I've got to watch him get better as an editor, because I remember when Beans and Moody Swede started another little channel called Hardly Famous, which if you're really OG you remember that channel, but it was a channel that was all about not having sniper lobby montages, and the whole idea behind it was this is a channel for people who aren't famous, who really like good gameplay. And him and Bobby headed that up and started editing, and I don't know how long they had been editing before that, but I remember their older montages, and I remember I'm basically saying that I've got to see, hey, check it out, I want you to see that. That's the sunset back there, and it looks amazing when I move my head. But they've always placed the emphasis on having fun and making fun videos, and Joel's videos have always been, people ask me, well, which YouTubers do you watch? If Small Beans uploads a video, I watch it every time. Every single Small Beans, Smexy shots and all that. I'm one of the people that's in there watching it every time. And so it makes me sad to hear that he feels like he's run its course. I can say that I empathize with you, little guy, and I totally understand what it feels like to not even really want to look at all of it for a little bit and really detach and do something else and actually have a life that is independent of this, which is a very sort of I mean, it's cool and it's meaningful at times, but it will never replace real experiences and friendships. And so I would say to you, do not close yourself. You know, if I had some piece of advice to give to you, don't close yourself off to the possibility of doing it down the road. But I felt like that was a fitting, honest video that you made proved that even though you're 10 years younger than me, you are a stand-up dude, and I hope other people take notes from how you've conducted yourself over the last 3 years. Whew, man, I was really blowing smoke up your ass on that one. I mean it too. I'll say it. I like you. I love you, man. Here's to you. I don't really love you. I don't know you that well. I'm sure if I got to know you, I would love you. And that's all that matters. Oh, wow. Oh, man. See, I'm already 6.5 minutes into a video that I intended to be 10 minutes, and I haven't even gotten to talking about what I want to talk about. I think I might split this video up into multiple parts. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, because I didn't think about it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been holding off on making a video discussing, or I guess it would just be, discussing my experience with Sark. I think maybe one of the reasons why I've held off on making a video like that is because I have oftentimes been confused with the experience altogether, and I don't want to talk about anything that I haven't fully worked out, and I don't think that I had the confidence to articulate my experience in an honest way, which is what I'm trying to do, which is what I try to do without letting ego get involved and making, instead of making a video talking about what happened, I make a video trying to sound awesome or something like that. It's really easy to do that, and I've done that. I've done that many times, and it's normal. I think any YouTuber that's honest with themselves will admit to some level of narcissism. Some level of narcissism is required to do what a YouTuber does, which is just, it's not much. Let's not blow it up and pretend like we're building the railroad tracks here, but I'm getting off on a tangent. What the fuck am I talking about? Mr. Sark. So I'm going to just start my story and just say that when my first experience with Sark was I saw him when Respawn first launched, and before I got a job with Machinima, I saw him as the host of Respawn for that first video. And my reaction at the time was, wait, who is he? And it wasn't like, and I don't say that like an insult. The reason I thought that is because he was so confident and funny and really, really talented at being an entertainer, that I thought that I had maybe missed out on him. Like, was he like the host of fucking E! Or some shitty MTV show at some point? Like, it made me think that. And that was the first time I saw him. And then it wasn't shortly after, it wasn't really that long after Machinima Respawn was formed that I got a job there. It was only about a month and a half or 2 months before I was offered the job and started. And Sark, my first actual in real life experience with Sark was when I had gone down to LA to talk to them initially about the possibility of working there, and I went into the offices when they were on Santa Monica. Well, they're still on Santa Monica, but they're in West Hollywood now. Before, it was in a much more less glamorous area of Hollywood, and I actually lived in that area. So I lived in sort of a ghetto for about 1.5 years when I was down there. And my first time meeting him, the first thing I thought was, fucking shit, this guy's tall, because I'm 6'3", nearly 6'4", and I'm not used to having to tilt my head to look up to anyone. And it happens, but most of the time it's like this if I'm talking to people, because I'm a fairly tall guy, and when I met him, he towered over me, and same with Wood. And those guys just, it's hard not to feel fucking totally emasculated and intimidated when you meet Sark, because he is so nice and confident in his delivery, and sort of forceful in his man, how do I even say it? He's he makes his presence felt in the best kind of way. Like, when Mr. Sark is in a room, and it's usually because he's making you laugh, and that's just such a rare gift for someone to have. And so I met him, and he was very nice to me, and he shook my hand, and I don't think he thought much of me. And in fact, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I was very. I was walking into a situation where everyone that worked at Machinima had a background in film. They'd either gone to film school, or they worked for G4, or they worked for some other company, and they had worked for years and years and years to get to where they had eventually landed, which was a job in a professional production company, which is what Machinima was and is. So I walked in there as a YouTuber who had no training, who was kind of good at Call of Duty and like really good at shitting out a bunch of Call of Duty videos that a lot of people watched. And that was all they knew of me at Machinima. My bosses, my coworkers, the other producers there, and Sark. And Wood. I think Wood has even come out and told me, I did not like you when we first met. Because, well, I don't know why. Maybe I was a douche. But at the time, I was very naive. I had no experience in production, none, and the whole experience was very overwhelming to me. And I can say that, and if you can indulge me in this one, without thinking that I'm putting myself down too much on this one, I can say that I wasn't really like a man at that point. And what I mean when I say that is that it was hard for me to confront situations in life that made me uncomfortable with any reasonable amount of grace, and I would sort of sometimes laugh myself through myself. Something funny, Liz? I could see you laughing. I would. Now I even forgot my thought. What was I talking about? Do you even remember? Do you even pay attention to me? You don't give a shit. You know, and I'm kind of glad that I got lost, because I feel like I could have got hung up on that point forever. So point being was I was very naive, and I was walking into a situation where it wasn't bad people that were being assholes to me. It was people having very natural and normal responses to for me being hired and being raised to such a prominent position, which was apprehension. Who is this guy? Why is the company that I am investing in, by working for them and by putting my time and creative energy into this, why are they hoisting this guy into a place of prominence, into a place of being sort of at the forefront of that?